No one sets out to fail with finances or be mediocre with money. We want to be successful with our salary, capable with our capital, adroit with our assets, and wise with our wealth. We seek success. Most media shrieks at us about how to be successful with our money. Hot stock tips, complex investment strategies, and gregarious gurus promise riches. But do they pan out? I contend that financial success is built on timeless principles, not recent products. The foundation for success is accepting and following the principles of success. Build your financial prosperity on the 7 pillars of success. Welcome to Retirement Mentorship. I am your host, Freeman Lindy. I'm the co-founder of Lacrosse Financial Planning, a certified financial planner, a licensed tax expert and preparer, and the author of 3D Retirement Income. I've helped dozens of clients retire successfully and stay successfully retired. And I do that by working one-on-one with them through my financial planning firm and teaching and reinforcing strategies through this YouTube channel and podcast. Principles are timeless. They don't change with the culture, the weather, or the global economy. They are the rock that you can cling to when the going gets tough and the fuel to boost your success when all is going well. We should all abide by the 7 principles to increase our financial success. You may find a bit of success without some of them, but it is impossible to be successful while ignoring all of them. Let's look at each of them and why they are so important. Pillar number 1, planning. We established that our portfolio of equities is to fund a plan. A portfolio is not a plan. It funds the plan. Planning is the critical step, the keystone to our success. No one plans to fail, but we do fail to plan, and the result is the same. You need to plan if you want to be successful with finances. Not just a plan, you need to plan, present, progressive, an ongoing process. No one ever wandered into financial success, but you can wander into financial ruin. You can't accidentally acquire assets. You don't find funds by a fluke. You can't increase cash by coincidence. You can't invest involuntarily. All practical steps of financial success, investing, reducing debt, avoiding taxes, etc., come after a plan. You make a plan to make Roth IRA contributions, and then you do it. You plan to save taxes. You plan to have the right insurance. You can wander through your financial life hoping that things will accidentally work out. They won't. Or you can plan your financial life and massively improve your chances of success. I suppose there is a third option. You can be sold. You can wander until someone gets a hold of you and sells you an insurance policy, or an investment product, or a debt leveraging strategy. You can let life happen to you, or you can plan the life you want. You can live life by design or by default. There are 6 domains of financial planning: cash flow and net worth planning, investment planning, insurance planning, retirement planning, tax planning, and estate planning. All the domains work together, and you cannot plan for them a la carte. There is enough distinction to put them into separate categories, but the categories will definitely overlap, and strategies will generally span 2 or more. For instance, my book 3D Retirement Income spans investment and retirement planning. Let's look briefly at each domain of financial planning. First, cash flow and net worth. Cash flow is the life breath of a financial plan. Cash comes in, cash goes out, every month for your entire life. If you are not yet retired, you need a cash flow plan that supports your lifestyle and allows you to save enough for retirement to continue to support that lifestyle. Knowing what you need on a monthly basis is key to retirement planning. Your net worth is the sum of everything you own minus everything that you owe. Never conflate net worth with human worth. The two are unrelated. But you must know everything you own and what it's worth, as well as having a plan to pay for everything you owe. You do not need to be debt-free to retire, but having little to no debt makes it a lot easier and gives you a lot of flexibility. Consolidating accounts and using software to track assets is a good place to start. Cash flow and net worth planning is not complicated, but they do set the foundation for more complex aspects of planning. Number 2, investment planning. Everyone has a portfolio, but few people have a plan. My book 3D Retirement Income provides a plan for your investments. It gives a purpose to your portfolio. Now you have a framework for your asset allocation, principles around diversification, and strategies for rebalancing and distributions. but you still need to plan the precise funds you will need and the styles you will use. I cannot recommend anything in a book or a video, but a fee-only fiduciary financial planner can help you with the details. Number 3, insurance planning. Building a financial plan means you want to protect it. Life doesn't always go the way we want it to. One of the ways we protect our finances is with insurance. We pay a small amount of premium to place the risk of something going wrong with an insurance company and to avoid some of that risk. Some insurances are necessary and some are absolutely unnecessary. Insurance planning seeks us to get the right coverage at the best possible price without buying insurance we don't actually need. Number 4 is tax planning. Taxes are the most significant expense any of us will pay. People often believe that their home is their largest expense, but only the mortgage interest and taxes on a home are an expense. The mortgage itself can be paid off. The home is an asset. Most of us will not be able to pay off our taxes, though, and cease to owe them anymore. We will pay our taxes for the rest of our lives. Tax planning attempts to pay the least amount of taxes over one's lifetime. There's a big difference between tax planning and tax preparation. Tax preparation is looking backwards to reduce the taxes paid last year. It gathers tax forms, historical records of earned income and expenses paid, and compiles it to ensure that the correct taxes were paid for last year. Tax preparation is often focused on reducing taxes paid in just 1 year. Preparers that only focus on 1 year, whether DIYers or paid preparers, typically will make moves to reduce taxes in the year they are filing, even if it means paying more taxes over their lifetime. For example, a preparer might recommend contributing to a traditional IRA to lower gross income for a year when the client should instead contribute to a Roth IRA. Accurate tax preparation is critical, but it doesn't go far enough. Tax planning is looking forward to reduce the total taxes paid over a lifetime. It uses current tax law and educated guesses to estimate future tax rates. It incorporates the other parts of your financial plan to determine how to have the best chance of paying the least amount of taxes in total, not just this year. If taxes are your largest expense, it can be reduced, you must plan to do so. If you can't plan it effectively yourself, you must hire someone to do it for you. Number 5 is retirement planning. And retirement planning has 2 major components. First, we have pre-retirement planning, which is planning when you can retire, right? It determines how much capital you need and how it should be allocated and structured to avoid having to return to work after you retire. In retirement planning is how to be retired, right? It looks at how to distribute capital when you're retired to align it with Social Security and Medicare and other retirement strategies. We cover a lot of that in my book, 3D Retirement Income. We spend decades working, and it's critical that we invest time and effort into planning when and how we are going to be retired. And lastly, we have estate planning. Estate planning is not just for the wealthy, it's for anyone who wants to control what happens to their dependents and their assets when they pass. There are 5 problems we are trying to avoid with estate planning. Number 1 is family fights. If you don't decide exactly what you want to have to happen with your assets and possessions, and you leave your family to fight over them. Many people claim that their family gets along and they won't have any problems with distributing the assets. But money does weird things to people. And it's much better for you to decide and make that decision legally binding than for you to leave it to them to decide and fight over. Item number 2 we're trying to avoid is a family burden. If you don't have an estate plan, your family is left trying to pick up the pieces. Make it easier on your family by legally appointing an executor and financial and health power of attorney. An estate plan for those with dependent children should also include life insurance. We should not foist our children onto someone else without taking care of their financial needs with sufficient term life insurance. Term life insurance. Item number 3 you're trying to avoid is the government deciding. If you don't decide what happens to your assets, possessions, and dependents, the government will. Do you want them interfering with everything you have built? I didn't think so. Decide for yourself and make it legal through the appropriate documents. Number 4, we're trying to avoid long delays. When you die, your estate, which is everything you own, goes through a process called probate. The process takes at least 90 days and often much longer, especially when there's no estate plan. We can shorten the probate process and have most of what you own avoid probate altogether. You need a good estate plan to ensure that your money goes directly to your children, grandchildren, churches, and charities without delay. A will does not avoid probate. You need more than a will to skip delays. And lastly, number 5, excessive fees. Dying isn't free, but you can reduce the cost. A prominent estate planning attorney told me once that many attorneys will only recommend a will. They may suggest that a simple will should suffice because your situation isn't complicated enough to warrant a complete plan. Plus, maybe they only charge $1,000 for a will, and a complete estate plan with a trust and all that will cost $5,000 to $10,000. But are you really saving money? The real money for attorneys is made managing probate, and that's where they make their money. So that's why you need estate planning and all of the other planning. There's a lot to it, but you will be much better off doing planning for all these areas of life than just going about it by default. Live by design, not by default. Pillar number 2, discipline. Some things in personal finances only need to be done once or rarely need redoing, such as creating an estate plan. Get it done. After it's done, you only need to revisit after one of the 5 Ds: death, divorce, diagnosis, decision, or decade. In other words, once it's done, you don't have to think about it for a while. But many of the other aspects of financial planning require discipline, which is applying the same action repeatedly over days, weeks, months, and years. Discipline is powerful and inhuman. It does not want to come naturally to any of us. We need to learn it, practice it, and keep it. It will slip away faster than it is gained. You will need the disciplines of paying yourself first, budgeting, paying down debt, saving into retirement accounts, living on less than you make, and many others. Probably the most challenging part of financial discipline is the length of time you will need to maintain it, which is forever. It's not a 40-day Lent or a 2-year weight loss journey. You need to build your disciplines and maintain them for decades, not days. Anyone can save into a retirement account for a few months or even a few years. Can you do it enough of it every year for decades? The overwhelmingly good news about discipline is that it's achievable for everyone. It doesn't require luck, inside information, the right stock tip, a wealthy family, or anything else. Anyone can build and maintain discipline. The disciplined budgeters and spenders avoid debt and avoid living paycheck to paycheck. The disciplined savers and investors build wealth. When combined with planning and the rest of the pillars, discipline will take you where you want to go, one step at a time. Discipline is crucial. Pillar number 3, patience. Patience is waiting in expectation of something greater. Discipline may be described as faithfully contributing each month to your Roth IRA. Patience may be described as letting your Roth IRA grow, understanding that it will not happen overnight. Many of the aspects of finance require patience, but none more than investing. Investing, which is opposed to speculation or trading, requires patience. It takes decades to prove successful. If you apply discipline and patience to investing, success is inevitable. It also requires patience to adopt a true time horizon. Many people, even professionals, see retirement date as the goal of investing. We are investing for retirement. Retirement is 5 years away. Therefore, our time horizon is 5 years. But unless you are planning to spend 100% of all your money in the first year of retirement, that is not your time horizon. You will need money for 10, 20, and 30 years beyond that. Your time horizon is the day you die if you're trying to die with nothing, and longer if you're trying to leave any kind of financial legacy. Adopting a multi-generational time horizon takes patience, and it helps you be patient. All good things come to those who wait, and only to those who wait come good things. One caveat: patience is different from procrastination. Patiently waiting for the right time to save for the future is not patience, it's procrastination. Patiently waiting to complete your estate plan until all your children are born is not patience, it's foolishness. So we need patience. Pillar number 4 then is knowledge. You cannot do anything intelligent with money until you know what to do and how to do it. It's not possible. You need knowledge. Personal finance is not a required class in most middle schools, high schools, or universities. Financial literacy is a huge problem in the United States. We've learned most of what we know from finances from the marketing departments of banks and credit card companies and insurance companies. Some of us have learned from financial gurus whose broad rules of thumb we find hard to apply to our own circumstances. Or maybe we've heard from a financial services representative who said that he was a financial advisor and he gave us some advice. but it turns out he learned everything he knows from the wholesalers at the insurance company that he works for. You must be educated on the financial topic relevant to you. Only then can you do it. There are 3 ways that I can see to learn. Number 1 is self-directed education. And this is probably the worst way to educate yourself. By self-directed, I mean learning by Googling, right? You hear about a financial topic or strategy and you want to know a bit more about it. You Google it. You click on a few of the links at the top and maybe browse the article a bit. Perhaps you get distracted by the banner ads or in the scroll with you ads. Or maybe there's so many ads that you get mad and exit the entire site. You scratch the itch you had about the topic and you move on. But you don't truly understand it. Moreover, you haven't connected it to the other dots in your financial life. You have a skin-deep level of knowledge that is almost useless unless pursued further. You don't have an education, you have a collection of facts. Sporadic Googling and research will never get you the knowledge that you need. And that brings us to way number 2 to learn, which is guided education. Rather than randomly researching, you can take a guided approach to your education. Let someone who understands the bigger picture and the complexities lay it out in a way that makes sense to you. The easiest and cheapest way to do this is to read or listen to books. Many brilliant authors have written brilliant books about finance that are easy to understand and apply. Reading books is exponentially superior to reading articles, and it doesn't take any longer. The most common excuse I hear for why people don't read books is, I don't have time to read. I would love to, but I just don't have the time. And it doesn't have to be regular reading. You can listen. Audiobooks are everywhere, and you can listen to them while you're doing other things. It might take a bit to get used to listening, just like it takes a little bit to learn how to start reading up again if it has been a long time. But it's much easier and much more convenient to listen to books rather than read them. And it's cheap or even free to listen and read. There are physical libraries and digital libraries. You can borrow an audiobook like you do a physical book right on your phone for free. If you want an excellent place to start, you can view my recommended reading at retirementorship.com/books. Read or listen to books. It will grow your knowledge and change your life. Which leads us to education way number 3, advice and education. So we had self-directed education, guided education, and now advice and education. Education and advice specific to your situation is the deepest level. If you are working through some mental hurdles, you can read a book or take some classes on cognitive behavioral therapy. Or you can see a cognitive behavioral therapist. The latter is likely more effective as they can help you get to the root of your specific issue. Similarly, a fiduciary financial advisor or planner who has the heart of a teacher will educate you on why you should do specific strategies and actions for your finances. You can and should use both guided education and advice. Get the basics through books and classes, get the specifics through advice. You must know to act. No one can make you know, you must want to. You need the pillar of knowledge if you want a solid financial future. I had a client once who was very excited about finance, and he said to me with gusto, teach me everything you know about money. To which my reaction was, no. No. If I taught you everything I know about money, you would know a lot of useless information. You'd have a wealth of conflicting strategies and know more about elements that don't involve your situation than elements that do. Knowing everything is a lot of work and mostly useless. Knowing everything is helpful for those who play Jeopardy and no one else. Instead, I'll teach you what you need to know. I'll filter out all the false, misleading, and useless information so that you can focus on what is essential. From there, we can formulate a plan and act on that plan. First, though, you need to know. Knowing is essential. It is also insufficient. The famous but is the most obvious proof that knowledge is not enough. The I know, but. I know I should save for retirement, but I want that new Ford F-150. I know I need to go to the gym, but I was up late last night and slept in instead. I know I shouldn't carry a balance on my credit card, but I get so many points. I know, but. We know, but we don't do. Knowledge is insufficient. We have thousands of self-help books and improvement books available to us. We consume them and we love them. If there's all this life-changing and optimizing and reaching your potential knowledge out there, available at only $15 to $25 and 6 hours of reading, why aren't we all there? Why isn't everyone self-actualized and living their best life? If knowing were enough, we'd all be billionaires with six-pack abs. So what is missing? We'll cover that in the next video. Make sure you subscribe to this channel so that you can get that video when it drops and hear part 2 of the 7 principles. And if you want guided education on retirement income, you can always get my book, 3D Retirement Income, on Amazon or for free at retirementorship.com. Links are in the description. Otherwise, we'll see you on the other side. Cheers.